Award-winning film director Bill Maloney has dedicated his skills to fight against institutional child abuse. His whole family were brought up and abused in the British care system. In this film, his intention is to allow the victims to speak for themselves in a working-class manner that represents his own culture. Bill's technique to comprise a bigger picture into the smaller frame that the public are often shown breathes life and thought-provoking images into the film that you are about to watch. The children are the future. God bless them all.
Take a listen, baby, tell me what you hear. You hear a lot of people saying something but you don't know where they've been, and it ain't worth asking. Only know, baby, you're too young, too young, too young, too young to sing the blues, too young, too young, too young, too young to sing the blues.
Social worker, I am a documentary filmmaker, I am a tough fucker, all my family was brought up in care, I was brought up in care, and I'm out to get yous. If you're abusing kids wherever you are, that's my aim in life, I'm coming to get you. So you look under the bed at night and you'll see Bill Maloney if you're a fucking nonce. And that'll do me, Lou.
Take a listen, baby, tell me what you hear. You hear a lot of people saying something but you don't know where they've been, and it ain't worth asking. Only know, baby,
and this may be a documentary from anywhere from fucking, I don't know, wow, whatever, but I want this to be heard.
Too young, too young, too young, too young to sing the blues.
And I'm not here to satisfy egos, I'm here to stop children being abused now.
Well, why should I justify what I'm being there? Why should I? Why should I? They're supposed to be looking after me, man. Fucking up. Fucking me.
You don't know where they've been, and it ain't worth asking. Only know, baby, you're too young. You're too young. Too young.
They are protected by the establishment, you know. You can't keep bashing our kids like this, we're not going to allow it anymore. We're not going to allow it anymore. Fuck that off for a minute, I'll get it up there.
When Adam died, his cell was sealed off for a day, and then it was reopened because Hasselfield needed the room. They didn't let the police continue with the forensics. It was reopened. They told them no more. And that is on my life up.
Do you believe that your son killed himself?
No.
Do you believe that Adam killed himself? 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 Do you believe that Adam killed himself?
If you're not a little boy for me, you'll be there. If you're not, you'll be that side. Correct? If you fucking disagree with me, you'll be the chin.
You're talking to me.
You're over to the chin? Yes?
Too young.
Nazi?
Too young to sing a
The Olo.
From £178,000 to £200,000 to keep a child in a secure training unit or in a local health authority secure unit. So these kids have become big profit. And then they go into these places, get abused, and then when they come out, then the fucking solicitors get hold of them and they start making money out of them.
You know, the crown, because you know the Queen Elizabeth will be off the crown soon. And remember what Charles did, remember what Charles did with the butler and the toothpick. Hello, Hancock's full yours. Hello.
Too young. young to sing the blues.
Salute. Salute.
When we leave here,
You're
you're on your own.
Yeah, you still do it.
You're on your own when we leave here.
Yeah.
That's what fucking does me.
Yeah.
Okay, here we are, we're on our second day, and I'm just making my way to York to meet Kevin Young. Kevin Young is the spokesperson for the victims of Medomsley. A very brave man. I haven't met Kevin physically, but I've spoken to him quite a lot on the phone, and I am looking forward to meeting Kevin strongly, because this man is a hero as far as I'm concerned. He's a fast talker. He reminds me of a London boy, actually. He's a fast talker. He hits the nail on the head, and he has no fear of the establishment. And all these cases that I seem to be investigating, whether it's Jersey, Haute de la Garenne, or Medomsley, or anywhere else, I keep seeing all the time the crown, the crown, the crown, the crown. Yet the Crown takes no responsibility. Right, here he is. Right, we're just going to film the first meeting of Bill Maloney meeting Kevin Young. So here's the man, Kevin Young.
Good to meet you.
Hello, Kevin. Good to hug, mate. Lovely, lovely brother. Right, so that's it. This is Kevin Young, and
it's good to meet you.
And it's good to meet him as well. And listen, we're coming to fucking get you.
I am a victim of abuse while serving a short sentence at a young boys' institute known as Medomsley in County Durham. A place I will never, ever forget.
65-year-old Reverend Neville Husband from Shotley Bridge in County Durham denied charges of indecent assault and a serious sexual attack on 6 boys aged between 17 and 19. The abuse took place over a 10-year period in the 1970s and 80s at Medomsley Detention Centre near Concert, which is now closed. The jury have found him guilty of 11 of the charges against 5 of the boys. He's been sentenced to a total of 8 years in prison.
So I'm here with Kevin Young. Kevin was an abuse victim at the Medomsley Young Offenders Institute. And in Kevin's quest, as the other 22 guys who were involved in this, he wants to expose, as they all do, the horrors that are going on within our childcare system now and before. If you want to use the term historical abuse, which I don't really like, you know, because yesterday was history. So Kevin's going to tell us his story, and it is very harrowing.
I was brought up in care in children's homes till the age of 16, 17. At 17-year-old, I received a stolen watch and was sentenced to 3 months detention centre for that.
Detention centres were known as a short, sharp shock.
That's correct.
So the rehabilitation involved in that wasn't really that predominant. It was more of a short, sharp shock.
It was. I mean, I think the idea at the time was to shock us, and shock us they certainly did. Like I say, I arrived, and within 2 or 3 days of being inducted into the place, I was chosen by one Neville Husband to go and work in the kitchens. That certainly pleased me in the sense that I understood it was very common knowledge that the kitchens was the place to be.
So Neville Husband, actually, did he run the kitchen?
Neville Husband was the sole runner of the kitchen.
Okay.
He was a Crown officer, and basically he ran the kitchen along with 12 kitchen boys in total.
Right, so there were 12 of you working in that kitchen?
In and around the kitchen area there were 12 young offenders.
Okay.
Within days of being in the kitchen, it became quite noticeable to me that the activities of Neville Husband were not one that I could really say were the actions of an officer, and each and every day over the first 4 or 5 days it was becoming obvious that there was something not right about both the establishment and certainly the activities of Neville Husband. what started off with minor touching as he passed you in the kitchen area. If you were prepping up food, he would walk past you and just slightly brush against you and touch you.
Where would he touch you? Let's get base with this, Kevin.
Let's get in. He'd touch you in the private areas.
Right.
The other thing that I found absolutely...
so your genitalia, your backside?
To begin with, for the first few days, it was purely the backside and brushing up against you, and obviously putting you in positions which were both uncomfortable for me. And
when you say brushing up against you, what do you mean brushing up? You mean pushing himself up against you?
Pushing himself up against you, and it was obvious that he had an erection on, so it was quite plain what was going on.
So he was pushing himself up against your arse?
Yes.
As he walked past?
Yes.
Okay, and he had an erection?
That's correct.
The regime, the short, sharp shock, the Young Offenders Institution, or detention centres, if you want to call them, yeah. They were run on a military...
A boot camp type.
A boot camp type, yeah. So, like, you know, where I was in Kidlington in Oxford, we used to wear uniform, you know, army uniform, gaiters, and we used to go on parade every morning. We'd have markers on parade. Thing. So it was the same as that. And
military marching.
And there was some kind of like gym, whether it was circuit training every single day, or running, or football, or rugby. So you know, this was a very male sort of dominated regime. Okay.
Most of the staff were ex-military, and it was a military regime. When the assaults first started, I made it quite plain to Neville Husband that I was about to report him. He then laughed at me quite openly and told me to go and report him, and I would be found within the prison self-harmed. That's exactly what Neville Husband said to me, and that threat was issued time and time again.
Yeah.
The louder I'd shout, the more threats he would make. Now, the other problem that I had is when I did attempt to speak to another officer, I was told quite categorically, and I later on learnt this, that Neville Husband ran the kitchens as he wished to run them, and that no other officer had the right to enter the kitchens or to get involved in anything that was going on in the kitchen area.
And the kitchen area was never searched by the officers, but the rest of the institution was applicable to being searched on occasion.
It was. Neville Husband had a special relationship with all of the governors, and some of that special relationship took the form of things like nobody was allowed extra keys for the kitchen, no other officer was allowed to search any of the kitchen area, despite the fact that that is a fundamental rule of the prison, particularly the kitchens.
So Neville Husband was an officer in charge of the kitchen, and who was the governor?
The governor at the time I was there was a gentleman called James Miller-Reid.
James Miller-Reid committed suicide at his home in Kent when the Medomsley case began proper.
So, if the kitchen area was never allowed to be searched, would it have had to be sanctioned?
It was sanctioned by the governor, which we've seen later on in documents many years later. If I can give you an example of the type of thing that was happening to me, and later on I found out others, was to be forcibly removed from the prison alone, only with Neville Husband, let out into the staff area where you'd be taken to one of the staff houses, one of the crown houses, the property where the prison officers lived. And on one occasion I was taken there, I was tied up, ligatured, I was tied to a...
Can you just explain ligatured?
Ligatured was basically, my hands were tied behind my back, and a ligature was put around my neck, which was basically quite a fat band. It wasn't made to cut in, it was put wide so it would get across my neck.
What was it, leather?
It was made of a catering tube that you would use for icing that had been cut down especially for the use of.
Right.
And in the back of that was a toggle, and if you turned the toggle, obviously the ligature would get tight around your neck until you passed out.
Right.
Which was basically part of the ritual was to make you go unconscious a few times.
So you've got your hands tied behind your back, you've got a ligature around your neck.
And I'm blindfolded. I can see down below the blindfold, and it was, you know, it was quite obvious that I wasn't alone in the house. Although I'd been taken to the house alone with Neville Husband, it was quite clear from underneath the blinds while I was being sexually assaulted and photographed, and I could hear an 8mm projector type whining away in the background. It was obvious that there was other officers in the room by the number of pairs of shoes.
Right, so if I can just, I'll just help you out here, Kevin.
Please
right?
do.
We've got you tied with your hands behind your back, you've got a ligature around your neck, you're blindfolded.
And I'm bent down on a set of stairs on the main stairways in the officer's house.
When you say bent down, what?
I'm on my hands and knees. I'm on my knees with my hands behind my back. My head is on the second or third step up.
Right, and there are other officers.
There are other officers. One officer has me by the neck. I believe that to be Neville Husband, who was actually turning the ligature. Other officers were assaulting me.
What, touching your private parts?
Yes.
Did they bugger you?
Yes, they did. In care, we dare and maybe try to win. But I know the pain of Catholic boys and the devils that it brings. At 8 I met a Catholic priest and learned the pain of lies. That taught me how I still recall the darkness in his eyes. Still spinning in my mind today, won't somebody ask me why? I thought the love of life in me had crumbled down and died. I remember as he touched my skin, I closed my mind and eyes, and I pictured open fields and ponds, and smiling sunny skies. And when it all seemed over and my heart began to slow, I bowed my head and felt the shame that only I will know. My name is Kevin Raymond Young. I'm 49 years old. I was born in Danesfield, Jarrow, a pauper's son, I'm told. Abandoned in my shawl of blue in June of '59. I feel the pain and know the shame, and that is how I lie.
The age of consent in the Pope's Vatican City is just 12, even though he has recently apologised for the Catholic Church's worldwide child sex abuse.
My life was not my own. I was under threat of winding up hung or being found hung. Self-harm was what he'd always describe it as. I would always be found self-harmed.
Yeah.
And that point was emphasised, to the point where I did become submissive. And let me tell you, I'm not a weak man. I was just a small, young, naive boy. And it's very difficult as a grown man to speak about this and because of the shame, the shame.
But that's all part of the.
Of course it is.
The paedophile schooling.
Well, of course, for many years, and even today, when I say for many years, I actually feel responsible in a great many ways for not being able to do more. And every day I get up, I ask myself, what else could I have done? So I have to live with that.
Who else abused you? What other names do you know of people that abused you, apart from Neville Husband?
The only person who physically abused me who I could recognise and identify would be Neville Husband. The other assaults that happened at the house happened with Neville Husband holding me while other people were in the room, I believe. I also believe that one of the people in the room was the former governor, James Miller-Reid. And the reason why I say that, there was only one pair of brogues in there, and the only person I knew who worked in the prison who wore brown brogues was James Miller-Reid.
See, Medomsley was a Young Offenders Institution. It still is, actually. Yeah. It just goes under another name now, doesn't it?
It's now known as Hassickfield.
Hassickfield, right. So it's still there, still doing the same thing.
It's still there and still doing the same thing. And interestingly enough, it wasn't many years ago that I had to pick up a daily paper, and it was a horror, it was a nightmare relived as I opened the page in a face of young Adam Rickwood. From what I understand and from what I read, he was the youngest boy prisoner in British penal history to be found apparently self-harmed and hung.
Yeah.
The harrowing thing for me was to then read that the boy had in fact been hung in the very same buildings, in the very same area, at a building, at an establishment which was formerly known as Medomsley. And that played hard on me, because I do hear a lot of historic abuse and historic that.
So what you're saying is, with Adam, I believe that you told me that he was found hanging by ligature.
That's correct.
And he had a broken wrist, and he had a broken nose. He was 14 years of age.
14 years of age.
Tell me, what have you sinned? Well, as your hopes. Well, as your...
Right, something scary's just happened. I've got some information that just down the road from where I'm staying, I'm in a place called Lucy Cross, not far from Darlington, and just down the road in a place called Gainford, there is, or was, a major young offenders institution called St Peter's. Now, St Peter's was built by the Catholic Church in 1900, and it was built by the Catholic Church in 1900, and then as an orphanage, and then in 1947 it was turned into an approved borstal, approved by the Home Office, and apparently it had 300 boys there, and these boys were in this place right up until 1984. Now, I've driven past this place a couple of times and I did wonder what it was, and it was a very macabre place. Recently, in 2007, there was a council meeting to decide what to do with the building, and the police were actually in attendance. God knows why. This place is right out in the wilds, and one of the police officers did say that this place something has to be done with this place because it is leaving a stain, a dark stain over not only Durham but also on the village of Gainford. So we're just going to go, me and Lily, we're going to go and have a little drive up there, and we're going to see if we can get in and see what's happening, see if we can, what we want to do with this place is try and give you the kind of atmosphere that we were doing with our children. Now, all you members of the public, it's all very well for you to sit there and you'll be watching this documentary and oh, it's terrible and oh, it's terrible. And recently, because of the government's expenses, which is really quite a triviality when you think about it, compared to child abuse and sadomasochism, you know, torturing children, we all went crackers over that. And now the majority of you will sit there and oh, it's this, but you won't do anything about it. But because the MPs will go and buy a new washing machine or a new TV, it seems like we want to hang them. So I'm going to take you to this place and I'm going to see if I can build up some kind of atmosphere for you to show you what it's like and see what we can find in there. So here we go. St Peter's approved borstal. St Peter's approved school borstal. Approved by the Home Office. Another house of horror. We're talking about a very sadistic regime here. This is St Peter's borstal. It was opened in 1900 and it didn't close until 1984, and it had a capacity for 300 children, and there were 300 children here. And this was a very, very brutal place. Now we're going to take you into the gym and show you something that really does scare us. Now this place has been empty for many, many years, and it's a very opulent area. And when you think about it, why is it being left empty? Now, I believe that once you start knocking old buildings down like this, then you're going to come into the excavation, putting new foundations in, etc. And I think that the authorities are concerned about what they may find if they start excavating this building. Now, I'd just like to say this window is open. I'm not breaking in. I'm going to climb in, and then Lil's going to pass me the camera, and then we're going to have a look inside. Okay, Lil? Torch, Lil. 1962 to 63. Mr. Byron, B-Y-R-N-E, headmaster, dirty, sadistic bastard. Dirty, sadistic bastard. That's what that says. And then the bottom line, Peter Darby, pervert. You fucked our heads up. That is 1962 to 63. Sounds like a very, very scary year. On that wall there, we have, it says 40 years of being head fucked. And then we have, on this wall again, vicious sadist. It says Jack Stokes, you should be hung. Now, there was one local woman who would talk to us about this, but she's only lived here for 4 years. And she said to me, she said, Bill, she went, every Halloween people come here. I said, what kind of people? She said, I don't know. I don't know if they were victims or I don't know if they were perpetrators or what. She said, but every Halloween people come here, to St Peter's, Borstal, ex-Young Offenders Institution. You're going to have to allow for the wind out here. We are in the back garden, if you like. Now that part would be the front. That would be the front of the building. You would come in on the other side of that building. That is the main entrance. That would be reception. Then the kids would all come in here and then they would be brought along to this building. This is the main building. This is the main building. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Would you really like your children or your child? 1984, would you really have liked your child to be brought to an establishment, to a house of fucking horror? You imagine a young child, a young kid coming in here, and what do they see here in 1984, in 1980, in 1970, 75, etc, etc. And so, let's do away with this term historical abuse, and I keep saying it. You're a bad man, Mr. Jack Straw. You're a bad man. We're coming to get you. One of the most powerful politicians in this country at the moment, his brother is on the sex offenders register. Because, boy, Jack, your brother is, as we say, a fucking nonce.
In 2000, Jack Straw's brother, William, was placed on the sex offenders register for 5 years for sexually assaulting a 16-year-old girl. At the time, Jack Straw was overseeing the sex offenders register as Home Secretary. In 2009, as Justice Secretary, Jack Straw has made it illegal for any child currently in care to speak out, even if they feel they are being maltreated.
So there you go, we just had a little mooch around the grounds of St Peter's in Gainford, not far from Darlington. And when I was talking to the people of the village, no one wanted to talk to us. There was one woman who wanted to talk to me, and I said, I'm not going to say her name, I can't say her name. And I said to her, I said, there's a lot of horrible things happening here, isn't there, darling? And she went, yes, Bill, yes, Bill. It's, you know, this place is like, it's got nothing to do with the middle and upper classes. This place is purely to lock up detained children, not to rehabilitate them, not to teach them how to lay a brick, not to teach them about electrics, not to teach them how to paint. Fuck all. Teaches them nothing. Because I was in these institutions, and all the people that I was in these institutions with, we came out and we didn't know anything. We didn't know anything. And, you know, this is a fucking Disneyland for the nonces. For all the dodgy prison staff, this was your Disneyland, wasn't it? And do you want to come, if you come round the other side. Now, I can't understand either. This building, as you approach it, from a place called Piercebridge, as you approach it, it just stands on its own. And what I said to you earlier, what they've done to these windows, they put boards over them, and then they've like done this like macabre sort of thing to make them look like windows, and they don't look like windows. And people say to me, oh no, that's to make them look like windows. That don't make them look like windows, that looks like a fucking house of horror, which is what it was. And like I would like to reiterate what the police officer said at the meeting. I'll go under here first. Right, so what happened there was the police turned up, You know, that place is, we're right out in the middle of nowhere. I don't know why the police, like, you know, they seem so keen and interested in this place. Now, I say again, having done a little bit of investigating in there, and I would say again, I'm working up a bit of a sweat here, but I again say, we need to have that place and all the others thoroughly investigated. Don't you agree, Lil?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so it's the 29th of April 2009 and we're on a Wednesday. Yesterday I was shooting one of the Medomsley victims, Kevin Young. Today I'm on my way to meet Colin and Richard. Now, I haven't even spoken to Richard. Again, they're both victims of Medomsley. I've had quite a few conversations with Colin. Colin seems a very creative person, and he fights the fight on the computer for the 22 Medomsley victims. Richard, I don't know. I think Richard was one of the originals with Kevin Young, who said that he would give up his anonymity. Now these guys, they've had quite a bit of trouble giving up their anonymity because of family. You know, no one likes to wants their family to know that they've been fucked up the arse or tortured, sexually tortured, etc., etc. Right, we're at Colin's place, close to Newcastle, and I'm with Colin's friend, Richard, who is also a Medomsley victim, and Richard is going to tell us his story. Yeah, Richard.
Hi, I'm Richie. I was in care for 3 weeks. I got out of the institutions when I was about 21.
So from the age of 3 weeks, you went into care,
yeah,
and you was in and out of institutions until you were 21, or just in institutions?
Not out.
So not even in and out. You was in institutions
yeah,
until 21. Okay, yeah. Rich.
And in that time, during that time, I was placed in Medomsley Detention Centre for stealing a car at 16, and that's when I came across a brutal regime.
So what you was joyriding, was you?
I was in them days, yeah. I was just a young kid.
So from joyriding that car, you were put into Medomsley, and Richard, could you just tell us your first day in Medomsley, and we'll go from there.
First day was, obviously you don't know what's hit you, because there's so much going on. You're scared of what's going on. The stories you've heard, how brutal it is. Until you get there, you don't know till you do. You're first initiated into a room with 2 prison officers behind a desk. You're told to strip, and then you're told asked to come forward across a red line. As soon as you do that, you're hit, and then told to go back. And then you're allowed to do a course of brass rubbing or scrubbing floors for a week. And then you're allocated a job, and mine was to be picked for the kitchens.
So you was a kitchen boy?
I was, yeah.
And who was in charge of the kitchen?
A senior prison officer called Neville Husband. He solely ran the kitchens by himself. So
Neville Husband, was he your abuser at Medomsley?
He was, yeah.
I know how difficult it is for you, Richard, but could you tell us about an occasion when you was abused by a husband?
There was a few occasions. Initially started off fawning, brushing up against you by washing the dishes or something. And then I got out to, it was one afternoon, I was upstairs in the changing rooms, and he came in and made me perform a sexual act on him.
Can I ask you what the sexual act was?
made me suck them off, basically.
So Neville Husband made you, as in my language, where I come from, he made you suck his cock?
Yeah.
Okay.
And on another occasion, mutual masturbation.
When you say mutual masturbation?
He made me masturbate him and he masturbated me.
Right. So, did he ever use any ligatures with you?
It was very heavy-handed to us and threatened me with hanging, but never used them against me. It was more hitting, slapping, heavy-handedness rather than ligatures.
Did Neville Husband bugger you?
No, he didn't. No, he tried.
What happened when he tried?
Obviously, I fought against it, and lucky enough, somebody was coming up the stairs at the time, and I suppose I escaped. I got away from him.
Why didn't you go to the governor?
Tim Newell, the governor at Medomsley at the time Richard was there, was also aware of Neville Husband's previous assaults on other young boys prior to his employment at Medomsley Detention Centre.
Petrified, really. The threats of being hung.
When you say hung, was it threats of being hung to kill you?
Oh yeah, to hang. Nobody will never hear me ever again.
And did you know what some of the other victims have said to me is that he would put them in a similar situation, you know, like, but tell them that they would be found as suicide, as killing themselves. That he more or less insinuated that he would kill them, and it would be put down to suicide.
Yeah.
Is that what you were told?
Yeah, and to be found, never to be found again.
Yeah. When he said never to be found again,
I suppose to hang. I mean, to be, I don't know, put in a plot.
Well,
to be.
One of the other Medomsley victims, a guy said to me that he was told that you could be disposed of at the end of the football pitch or the games field. Yeah. Have you heard that?
Put in a plot, yeah.
Put in a plot.
Yeah.
What was?
And nobody would ever find me.
Yeah. You never had a family then. You never had a family life, Richard.
No, no.
So what was it? Children's homes?
Yeah, it was initially children's homes and family group homes. Then adolescent units, and then approved schools, and then detention centre, then in Boston.
How do you think that kind of upbringing has affected your life?
Totally ruined it, really, but you've got to get on with it, haven't you?
Do you have a partner, Richard?
No, I don't know.
So you're on your own?
I am, yeah.
You're still on your own, mate?
Yeah, but on my own, you know, no other way.
Now, have you got a claim pending over this?
I have, yeah, but they don't want to deal with me.
Why don't they want to deal with you, Richard?
You ask them that. The husband will be out in October, and he would have done a 10-year sentence, and I'm still fighting my corner.
You're still serving your sentence?
I'll always serve my sentence.
Well, what do you think should have happened to Neville Husband?
Well, I think he shouldn't be let out again. Ever. Ever.
What would you, if you could change the system, what changes would you make in this system?
more awareness what goes on. And I don't know how to. That's for the professionals to decide, I suppose. But just to be aware of what goes on, and more of kids, why they are running away, not because of what is their background, because there's something made them run away, and not just because they want to run away because they're in that institution, because there's a lot more goes on.
Do you just want to put that on me just for a minute, Lily? I'm going to come back to you, Richard. There's a crazy fact that 100,000 children go missing in the UK each year, and in America 3,000 children are reported missing every single day. Now, men like Richard are a byproduct of the establishment's horrific care system. And I'm going to go back to Richard now. I just wanted to say that, Richard, because I get a little bit angry myself sometimes, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, I've come across a lot of the victims, Richard, and they don't want to show their face on camera. And when I came here today, you really had decided, and I said to you, if you're not sure, don't do it. And you said okay. But then when we came down here, you said, fuck it, I'm going on camera. Why? What made you change your mind?
I suppose in a way, I mean, I've kept all the abuse in myself all my life until the police came to see me. And I suppose that was a release of it all, really. I still am ashamed of what happened to me, but I'm not ashamed anymore, if you know what I mean. Not to show my face, because in the end it wasn't my fault. It wasn't me to blame, it was them.
That's
They
right.
did it to me. And
why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? Why are you on camera? Why are you talking?
because I'm not the only one it's happened to, and it's still happening to other people to this day, with paedophile rings who are up in high places, and they still getting away with it.
And will continue to get away with it.
Well, yeah.
And you know, it's you know, Gordon Brown, this government, they promised £3 billion 10 years ago to get nearly 3 million children out of poverty in this country, and the kids haven't had their 3 billion, and we know that poverty breeds street crime, violence, dysfunctional families.
Yeah.
So for a paltry 3 billion, when you consider what we've just given to the bankers, and if that will, you know, that 3 billion will, for the future, stave off certain amount of crime, etc., etc., don't you think that should be given? Because it's another government bond there that is refusing to help the children.
Well, I wouldn't put anything past any governments, to be quite honest.
Well, how do you feel about the establishments now?
I think they've always been the same, and they always will be the same. They'll be brutal, harsh, and they don't give a damn.
Richard, if you could say one thing to the children that are in care at the moment, that are going through abuse in this country and around the rest of the world, what would you say to those children?
I would just try to say to them, there is help, there is something there, there is somebody there. Just try and tell somebody, at least try and tell somebody. Even the abuser knows that they will be found out one day, but don't let it be too late. Tell them now, to tell them what's going on, because it is going on, you know.
Well, Richard,
I wish I could find the words, you know, but
well, I think you have, mate. I think you have found the words, Richard. And I don't think there's really the necessity. You know, when I first started making this documentary, I thought I'm going to get these guys to give me every single nitty-gritty detail. But I don't think there's need to, because Richard, just your face tells us that it is and was horrific and must be stopped, if that makes a sense, my friend, and I don't mean you any insult in that at all, okay? Because I look on you as a brother, Richard. Yeah?
Yeah, you're welcome, thank you.
So let's
Thank
have
you
this
for
on
saying
camera, and I'll tell you what, I love these people, and it makes me fucking angry.
That's out.
Good, Richard, well done.
Thanks, man.
Well done, mate.
Whew.
He's dead because of them bastards.
Listen, mate.
Nah.
Rich, do me a favour, right? Just think about what we're doing at the moment and the way we just want to get it across clearly.
He's still not here, is he?
And we can easily brush it under the carpet if that's what you want to do. But I can't, Bill can't, Lil can't, Darren can't, Martin can't, Adam can't.
Stockholm disease
Is when your perpetrator, your kidnapper, has you all under his spell, her spell, that you have got nowhere else to go, that you believe in her and still forgive him at the end of the day, even though I'm a perpetrator in court of law.
Tell me, what have you sinned? Well, as your hopes, well, as your dreams, I'm coming home. Home's where I wanna be. I'm coming home. Home's where I need to be.
Right, so we're still at Colin's house, and we've just finished interviewing Richard, which was really quite a harrowing experience for all concerned, I think, but you know, very brave man. Now I'm going to interview Colin and his partner. They both wish to maintain their anonymity, and in the background we're going to have a bird. The parrot is going to make a noise now and again, and there's nothing we can do about it because this is where it lives. Okay, so Colin, if you could tell us your story, and first of all you just start by saying what you went into Medomsley for.
I went into Medomsley for not doing the community work, or not doing part of the community work.
What was you serving the community work for?
For stealing a jacket out of a car in a car park.
And how much community work had you got?
120 hours.
And how much of it had you done?
Almost all of it, bar 8 hours or something.
So you've done 110 hours?
Yeah.
And the other 8 or 10 hours you never done. They gave you a 3-month sentence in Medomsley Institution.
Yeah.
Right. I'm sorry about that, you know what I mean? These things are coming to light to me and I'm just seeing some proper craziness here. Because like I said to Richard, I do get angry as well sometimes.
This is where the children are being incarcerated. Now, this place has children in it from the age of 14 or possibly even younger, I believe. This is where Adam Rickwood was found hung with a broken nose and a broken wrist. And there's someone coming out there now, and we can just get a shot. There's a couple of officers. Right, so here we go. This is it. This is where we send our children. Do you want to check that fence? We got that fence. This is where we send our children. If you notice, the roof is all metallic, so they can't get out of the roof. There's no escape from this place. And this is where Adam Rickwood was found hung with a broken nose and a broken wrist. And that is absolutely fucking outrageous to me. I cannot believe the way we are treating our children in this country. Now, Hassexfield, as it's called, is owned by Serco. Okay, we all know about Serco. Each child that is in that institution earns Serco £175,000 per year, each child. And I believe that at the moment there are 53 boys in there, young boys. I think that's from the age of 14 up until 18. And they also have places for 16 girls in there. And they also have places for 3 women who have children in there, though I believe that that has never been put to use yet. But the girls are in there, and the young boys are in there. Adam Rickwood, who was found again, as I say, hanging with a broken nose and a broken wrist. And these terrible injuries were put down to restraining techniques used by the guards.
So you was abused by Neville Husband?
Yes, I was abused by Neville Husband.
Would you like to share with us the actual experience and what led to it, etc. for us, Colin?
The first time was I was upstairs and Neville Husband came in. Upstairs was a shower for just the kitchen lads, so they could get showered when they'd done gym, to go back into the kitchen again because it would be all sweaty after doing gym. So I was upstairs and Neville Husband came in and he started talking to us not like I'd expect an officer to talk to you. He was treating us like a friend, like somebody he knew, somebody he liked, somebody. He offered us cigarettes, which at that point I didn't take because I thought there was a trap here. There's a trap. Something's. I mean, I'd been in places.
Something wasn't right.
Something wasn't right. He was treating it like I said. He had this strange aura about him that was. It's just powerful. Powerful.
So what happened? What happened, Colin?
He told us to strip off, and all I had on was the kitchen whites, which is a white t-shirt, and checkered trousers. He wouldn't let you wear underwear.
So Neville Husband wouldn't let the kitchen boys wear any underwear?
No. Right. And the garments we were wearing were just thin kitchen, to stop you sweating in the kitchen, so they were very thin.
A bit like a wet t-shirt.
No, that's what happened actually.
Yeah, you know, like the wet t-shirt competitions.
Yeah.
So yeah, I gotcha.
Well, I was upstairs and he told us to strip off, which I did, and he told us to leave my t-shirt on, and told us to get into the shower and get a shower with a t-shirt on. And
so it was a wet t-shirt.
That was exactly what it was.
Can I just stop you there, because like, you know, when I'm talking about a wet t-shirt competition, I'm talking about, you know, in sort of soft porn films, you know, and in some sort of you know, clubs, and you know, they'll throw a bucket of water, the girls go up, you know, it's a bit like a Miss World thing, isn't it? And you know, but they have the Miss Wet t-shirt thing, throw water over you, so that's what I'm getting at. So he's put you in the shower, kept your t-shirt on. Yeah.
And photographed me in the shower with the t-shirt on.
So he's photographed you in the shower?
He's photographing me in the shower with the t-shirt on.
Were they stills or was it film?
No, it was photographs.
Just still photographs?
Just still photographs.
Okay.
He then told us to get out of the shower and follow him. And I followed him down the corridor to another room at the end of the corridor, which when I got inside, it was like a waiting room for where the officers would get dressed themselves and changed, and had like 2 lockers in it and a chair and a table, and it faced the front of the detention centre out the window. In there, he forced us to bend over the chair and pose in various different poses, and
While he was taking pictures?
while he was taking pictures, yeah, all the time he was taking pictures. You got to take off the t-shirt and then continue to take more pictures. He started to touch us and told me to touch him. Then he started masturbating me and told me to masturbate him.
But you were not in a safe environment, was you?
Well, I was locked in a place and there was no escape. And I knew that telling any other prison officer was worse than hopeless.
Had you ever had your life threatened?
By your husband, yes.
By Neville Husband?
That happened the first day in the kitchen.
In what way did he threaten your life?
He threatened, he says, a lot of it was innuendo. He said, a child could go missing and be buried in a sports field, and would just say he's escaped, and that would be the end of it. Nobody would ever hear from you again.
So he's insinuating that you could be murdered and buried in the sports field,
Yes.
really. Let's get
that's
to
what he
it,
said.
you know what I mean? Let's not sanitise it like those people do.
But that's what he said. He didn't.
Well, that was the
directly
insinuation.
threaten.
So
Yes,
he threatened more or less. He was saying if you open your mouth.
He also told me he's licensed to kill.
He's licensed.
He was
to kill.
licensed to kill in the military.
Whatever that means.
Well, at the time it meant James Bond to me.
James Bond, yeah.
That's what it meant to me. He threatened us. He physically held me arm up my back.
So you feared the man?
I feared him the instant I saw him.
Did everyone fear Neville Husband?
Yeah, including the other prison officers.
Including the prison officers?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially.
Why? Was it the man's violence? Was it his connections?
Yeah, it was both. It was both. He was protected. He was protected by the governors and the senior management.
Why did the governors protect him?
I think because there were... I know Husband was a Mason. I know...
A Freemason?
Yeah, Freemason.
Neville Husband was a Freemason?
Yes.
Right.
I can tell you what...
It doesn't matter.
Where it was.
Anyway,
he was a Freemason. At the time, he had a friend who was the storeman called Leslie Johnson. I didn't know anything about Leslie Johnson. Leslie Johnson, I never met the guy.
Was Leslie Johnson a Freemason?
Yes, he was.
So he was Neville Husband's partner, you're saying?
Yes, yes, he was, definitely. I'm not saying that, I'm definitely saying that.
Okay.
I know that.
Right, okay, so you're saying there's a Freemason connection there?
Yeah, definitely.
Well,
yes.
that's it's very similar to the island of Jersey and what happened at Haute de la Garenne and the state's involvement and cover-up. You know, there are Freemasons involved in that as well, and I've been finding that a lot in my investigations.
Yeah.
If you could change something about the way the system is run, what would you change? What is it that we can do? That these people that you know are supposed to be listening to people like you, I want you to tell them what you want them to do.
I would want them to do the homework properly on people who they employ. Do it properly. Give them trainings, proper training where they're supervised and watched all the time to see how they behave. Just to look for character traits, look for anything within these people who are doing this to kids, because they've ruined millions, I would say, millions over the decades of working class poor kids. They've been fed into the grinder, munched up and spat out the other side as state dependents on drugs, alcohol, or in prison.
Well, I'll tell you what else I've been finding, Kevin, that a lot of these people, you know, prison officers and, you know, working in Young Offenders Institutes, a lot of them are ex-military or ex-police officers, and it does seem to be predominant, you know, and they don't like to disclose their own, we know that, and this is what we're doing this for. We're hoping that that is what this will do.
Chief Executive of Dr Bernardo's, Martin Neri, has recently announced that more babies should be taken away from their parents at birth. Yet we have discovered that as prison governor at both Frankland Maximum Security Prison and Deerbolt Young Offenders Borstal, Martin Neri employed known paedophile Neville Husband as a senior officer. Last year, Dr Bernardo's income topped £215 million. They are responsible for the care of approximately 100,000 children. This equates to an income of £215,000 per child per year.
Kevin, I'm just going to leave you there, and I'm going to go to your partner now. Colin, sorry, I'm getting mixed up with Colin and Kevin's, and but this is a very difficult subject, you know, because these guys they have a story to tell that, you know, could fill 100 documentaries. All right then. Now, yeah.
Can I just stop it for a second?
Yeah, I'm just gonna. Yeah. Colin told you in 1994 what had happened to him in Medomsley when he was only 19, and you two were together. Yeah. And then you thought back and understood why he had changed when he came out. Yeah. 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 And since then he's changed again.
He has. He has.
For the better this time.
Yeah. Yeah. He doesn't drink. He's not abusive. He's loving and he's kind.
He's loving and he's kind and he loves his kids. Yeah. And how does he spend his time?
Mostly on the internet.
Doing what? What's he doing on the internet?
He does quite a lot of fighting for victims of abuse.
And what's it called? What's it called?
Justice for Survivors.
Justice for Survivors. And people can go on to that.
Yeah.
Justice for Survivors. Yeah. And people can go on to that and see all the work that Colin has been doing in his quest for the abused kids that were abused and are still being abused. So he's fighting it.
He is. He is.
So well.
And I'm 100% behind him.
Well, that's really good.
Something needs to be done. I mean, it's not just Medomsley, it's the whole world. You know, it's going on, and people are frightened to say things because they know for a fact that, I mean, some of them know that it's not going to get out.
Yeah.
Because it's covered. It's covered up.
Why? Why is it covered up?
Because there's a lot of politicians,
a lot of top people.
Businessmen.
Well, if we go by the statistics that 1 in 4 people, not just men, but people, men and women, have paedophilic tendencies. I'm not saying they all take, you know, put them into actions, but if there's 1 in 4, then they've got a lot of people fighting for them as well, haven't they?
I have, yeah.
So there's, you know, and how many people out of the 3 that are left are fighting against that one? Yeah. So, well, listen, I'll just like to thank you both, and I think you're very brave for what you're doing, and you, Kevin, keep up the Colin, keep up the good work. I get the names mixed up because I call these men the Medomsley Heroes. That's what I call them, and I've met so many of them, and you know what they've been telling me as well. Some things I don't want to say on camera, and that is understandable. But it's sorry about getting the names mixed up, chaps. And well done. Yeah. Okay. Colin and his partner have, I should imagine, many years of trauma behind them because of what happened to Colin in Medomsley, and these kids are still coming out. You know, young offenders wasting away. Yawa. You tell it.
Stockholm disease is where they're tricking Connie and grooming, right? So therefore, after so many times in so many
look, you've got to calm down, dude.
Sorry,
it ain't coming across.
Right, sorry.
Stockholm disease
is when your perpetrator, your kidnapper, has you all under his spell, her spell, that you have got nowhere else to go, that you believe in her and still forgive them at the end of the day, even though they're perpetrated in court of law.
So that is part of the Stockholm.
Yes.
Part of their grooming.
Yes.
To victims like yourself, and
they're very clever.
And it makes you feel
I'm under their
power.
Yeah.
Like almost as if they was a parent.
Yes. That's what
so
Stockholm,
close.
That's what Stockholm is.
That's what Stockholm is. So you were good. Rich.
It minds you, and you forgive them at the end of the day. You think that because they come so much part of you, you forgive them.
I said to you a little while ago, because every now and again you say to me, Bill, can I ask you a personal question? You know? And I said to you a little while ago, I have never been asked so many times in such a short time period, Bill, can I ask you a fucking personal question?
You can.
Now, let me ask you a personal question.
What's that?
Right? What was the worst attack on you? Can you describe that for me, that attack? Bearing in mind I'm standing here next to you and I've got you, mate.
It was at Medomsley, which we are now in County Durham, right? And
County
Husband.
Durham.
County Durham, right?
Yeah.
And it was Neville Husband, and he was in there for 17 years, you know.
Mm.
And every 6 weeks, every 3 months, he had a new boy coming through. And he did it for 17 years because of the cover-up. And Tim knew, and everybody else could let him get away with it. 17 years. That was more than the Nazis, man. The tender pieces of meat, the butter up and slapper, and then they hide them into the. No, they actually go past the cemetery bit, right? They go past that because everybody thinks the cemetery goes back there. And they go, all right, everybody thinks the cemetery. Now we've got the live boys. So they take the live boys on the back, rape them, fuck them. I don't lie in this world. I don't lie in this world because I wasn't pumped and programmed. Because you know why? They had me from a very, very, very early age. And from day one, I knew I shouldn't lie. Because if I lie, I get hurt by these fucking people who aren't really real, right? And I'm fucking what? I don't know. 46 next month. This month at the 30th, right? And I'm a Gemini, right? But I'll tell you the truth and the real truth. I will never be hurt again because there's a lovely, lovely man here, right? And this might be a documentary from anywhere, from fucking, I don't know, whatever. But I want this to be heard. We will get the crown because the crown hurt me and had me, you know, had me. And not only just me, from little babies. He'd pump them up to be grease.
Well, I'm gonna, we'll just cut there on it, but...
No, you know what to do.
Yeah. You're coming back?
The Nazis only had about 6 years.
Oh.
He had about 17.
Yeah, I know.
Come on, them poor kids. The fucking gas chamber. If you're not a little boy for me, you'll be there. If you're not, you'll be that side. Correct? If you fucking disagree with me, you'll be the chamber.
You're talking to me.
You will be to the chamber. Yes? Nazi? The Ordo. And we're still hurt and angry. And we'll never go away. We're fucking war like.
Even Lil looks fucked.
No, I won't never go away like. Even they want to nail me to a fucking cross. I'm never gonna wear like. I may go right now, but I'll come back.
That's it, he's our conscience. You know. I like kids, man, you know what I mean? I think they're the future. They're like the ones that are going to push the planet forward, and if we are going to have any kind of equality on this planet, then it's down to the children. They're the next force coming up, but it's too late for us. So, I mean,
Darlington. We had a real scare yesterday because all the victims pulled out of the documentary because I had an altercation with one of them. One of them said that I'd been swearing at him and I hadn't been swearing at him. So then I phoned him up and I did swear at him because that's the way I am. So then he went to his solicitor David Green, and David Green, I think, pulled out a little bit too sharpish. Saying that he sent us an email saying that this guy wasn't happy, so he therefore wasn't going to give an interview. So David Green has said yes and no 4 times already, so that's the solicitor. So now everything seems all right. You know, Maria, our producer, she spoke to the guys this morning, and now all of a sudden I'm the best thing since sliced bread again. Well, of course I am, because I'm the only fucker that will make this documentary in an honest and forthright manner and not sanitise it like the BBC do or ITV. So we're back on, but that was a very scary moment. I fucking clue how this is going to pan out, but I thought the solicitor David Green pulled out a little bit quick, and now apparently they're trying to get him back in as well. So it's in and out, in and out, in and out. And I understand the vulnerability of these people. It's what the establishment have done to them. It's their schooling, etc., etc. One minute they want to go and do it, next minute they don't want to go and do it. These are classic symptoms of abuse victims. They don't know what they're doing. That's what I'm here for. I'm the one who's got to keep it grounded, and if I've got to chuck a few fucks and bollocks about, then I will do that if that's what it takes, because I'm not making this for the middle and upper classes, I'm making this for the people, and we do swear, so fuck them all. That's it.
Take a listen, baby, tell me what you hear. You hear a lot of people saying something, but you don't know where they've been, and it ain't worth asking. Only know, baby, you're too young. You're too young. Too young. Too young to sing the blues. Too young. You're too young. Too young. Too young to sing the blues. Take a listen, baby, tell me what you hear. You hear a lot of people saying something, but you don't know where they've been, and it ain't worth asking. Only know, baby, you're too young. Too young. Too young. Too young to sing the blues, too young. You're too young. Too young. Too young to sing the blues.
Adam Rickwood became the youngest person to die in custody in the UK when he hanged himself with his shoelaces at a centre in Durham. He'd been sent 150 miles away from his family in Burnley because nowhere else was available. His mother was unhappy with today's verdict.
I'm not so happy with the results that's come out today. Everything's been narrowed down. The jury hasn't had the chance to hear the full evidence. They haven't had a chance to listen to the full facts of what went on. And it won't stop here.
The jury heard he had suffered from mental health problems and suicidal tendencies, but found staff at the centre had acted correctly during the incident hours before his death when he was restrained.
I'm disgusted. I'm totally and utterly disgusted. They can go home at night time, tuck the children up in bed, give them a kiss good night. I've put mine in a bag. A piece of paper. I put mine in a bag.
Ranveer Singh, North West Tonight.
Don't be upset, please. Bury me in the clothes I'm wearing. Dear Mum, Dad, Sarah, Sharon, Laura, Nadia, Nana, and all of my loved ones. Sorry, sorry, sorry. Lately, over the past 2 months or so, things have been very hard for me, and it's just all got to the point where my head goes. As most of you all know, I bottle things up too much, but I guess that's just me. I can't help but cry whilst I'm writing this letter. even though that doesn't help. I will miss all of yous, and I know all of yous will miss me. Nadia, darling babe, my world, I love you more than words can say. I'm sorry I couldn't kiss your lips for the last time, but it will make me happy if you kiss me in my sleep. Don't be scared, please, don't be upset. At least I know you love me, and that you know I love you. Please will you ask Martin to read this letter? 8 at my funeral, please. I'm sorry, I know some of you will think I'm daft, stupid or selfish, but that's just what you think. I will be okay with my granddads and my nana. I can look after them and make sure they're all right. I'm sorry, I would like to be buried with my granddad Rickwood. I want my dad, Craig, Uncle David, Martin, Uncle Tom and Uncle Steve to carry my coffin to my granddad, please. I want you to play these songs for me, please. Tupac, That's Just the Way It Is. UB40, Red Red Wine. Bob Marley, No Woman, No Cry. P.S. I would like to be buried with my gold and other personal belongings.
Thank you, Carol. So that was Adam's suicide note that they found. But apparently, Carol, there was 2 letters, weren't there?
Yeah, there were.
Did we find the other one?
There were a suicide note and then a statement what Adam wrote with regards to the screws battering him.
Right.
Asking what gave him the right to do it.
I'm here in Burnley with Adam Rickwood's family, and we're going to be talking to his mother Carol first. And I would like to ask Carol, first of all, well, the whole thing, Carol, I would like to know Adam's story, and I would also like to know what you're not happy with on the story. So this is a debate that's going to go on for a little while, I think. If you want to pan and show all these people, would you all say your name just at the camera? Just go up there.
Hello, I'm Terry Lee and I'm Adam's friend, as well as ex-girlfriend.
Hello, I'm Laura Rickwood, Adam's little sister.
Hello, I'm Amy Ellis, Adam's friend.
I'm Bob Whitehead, more like a brother than a mate.
I'm Elizabeth Rickwood, Adam's auntie.
Carol Pender, Adam's mum.
Margaret Rickwood, Adam's nana.
Right, so then, shall we kick it off with you, Carol? If we can start at the beginning of the story. So if everyone... Now, all I would like to say to everyone is, because up here, they've got some strong accents, you know what I mean? So you might find it difficult to understand them. I'm sure they find it difficult to understand us sometimes. So I'm just going to try and help out there, okay? So if we go to Carol, you want to kick it off, Carol?
Yeah. Adam got remanded to Hattockfield Secure Training Centre and came to Durham. Whilst Adam were in there, they'd been warned on 20th of July that Adam was suicidal. He had a history of suicidal attempts where he'd scratched at his arms, took overdoses and things like that. On Sunday, 8th of August, Adam had been violently restrained by 4 large prison guards. They punched him in the face, busted a nose. He was left in his cell, bruised and bleeding for hours on end. At approximately 11:30 p.m, Adam was found hanging in his cell. They told me Adam committed suicide, and I don't believe a word what they say.
Okay. What we could reiterate on, Carol, was that before Adam went to this institution, which is you know, well known because it was formerly Medomsley, you know, and there's 22 guys at the moment. That's what this documentary, how it started, that's what it was about. It was about the 22 crew who were suing the Home Office, etc., etc., and have been offered paltry sums and are still suffering to this day because of the torture and the sex abuse that they suffered. But I understand it that Adam was arrested for a stabbing or something like that, Carol. Do you want to tell us about that?
Adam was arrested for stabbing a 20-year-old man. At the time, Adam had denied that he'd done it. He'd been sent to the secure training centre. While Adam were in the secure training centre, the 20-year-old man had been to my house, spoke to Adam on the telephone several times. He'd been to his solicitor to retract his statement. He'd been to Burnley Police Station to retract his statement, to tell him He knew it weren't Adam what had stabbed him. When he went to Burnley Police Station, he was told on numerous occasions, you'll have to come back. The officer who took the original statement, when this man had said Adam had stabbed him, he were on leave. So they constantly told him, you'll have to come back, you'll have to come back. No other officer can retract the statement.
Before they put Adam into Hassockfield, there was a social worker involved. What was that social worker's name?
He was a social worker, youth offending team worker, Pete Jenkins. Before Adam had got sent to Hassockfield, when he first ever went to court for the offence, the court ordered secure remand. There were no secure beds available at all, so they sent Adam to a non-secure place, supposedly at Manchester. Pete Jenkins came to my home address to pick some clothes up for Adam. Said that he was taking Adam to this children's home over at Manchester. He'd gone to the police station to pick Adam up. Turned around and told Adam, I'll be taking you to the children's home, so if you're going to run, run. Quite obviously, Adam ran away.
So he taunted him into running. He said,
of course he did.
But Adam was at a place, this is the children's home he went to where he was quite happy.
Yeah, after Adam had ran away, he reappeared in court. The court again ordered secure remand. There's still no secure remands available. So then Adam got sent to a privately run children's home in Haslingden, that's about 20 minutes away. There were only Adam there at the time, and he'd done everything the staff there asked Adam to do. Adam done it. He got on great with staff, the staff got on great with Adam. Pete Jenkins, he turned around and said that Adam had to go to this place over at Manchester. Adam had emotional behavioural problems, he had a conduct disorder. I told Pete Jenkins he's not going. He told me, yeah, he is, he's going. I said, listen, it's not secure. If it's not a secure place, you're not taking him. He's not a dog what ain't got an home. That day I spent biggest whack at day on telephone. I was speaking to youth offending team at London, etc. Spoke to Adam's social worker, a lady called Sue Kennedy. We got it where Adam could stay at Elm Tree Farm.
Can I just interrupt you? Adam, how did Adam get on with Sue Kennedy?
He liked her. We got on with Sue Kennedy all right. She was saying Sue. Yeah. Pete Jenkins, when he found out that we got it where Adam could stay at Elm Tree Farm, he weren't happy at all. And basically, he had Adam's name marked. The minute a secure bed came available, it didn't matter if it were in England or Ireland or wherever. As far as I'm concerned, Pete Jenkins had Adam's name marked on it.
Right.
He didn't like Adam, and Adam didn't like him.
So we're talking about this social worker or whatever.
Social worker, youth offending team worker.
Right, social worker and youth offending team officer.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Adam didn't get on with him.
No.
But Adam did like this place that this guy put him in.
Yeah.
And he was quite comfortable there, but he did abscond. Well, this guy, Pete Jenkins, he said in his report that Adam absconded. Now, but if I can just, he said he absconded, but he said he came back that evening.
Where he's going on about Adam absconded from Elm Tree Farm, Pete Jenkins and his team have been in touch with Elm Tree Farm to tell them a secure bed at County Durham, which is over 200 miles, had become available for Adam, where a child is supposed to be placed within a 50-mile radius of home, and that's a law.
Was that Hassockfield?
Yeah.
Is that how far Hassockfield is away?
Yeah, it's
200 miles?
200 miles away from our front door to their front door. And a child, by law, a child is supposed to be placed 50-mile radius of home. They were sending Adam to Hassockfield, Secure Training Centre. They asked the staff at Elm Tree Farm to lie to Adam and say he were going somewhere local. The staff told Pete Jenkins that they wouldn't lie to Adam. They were going to tell Adam the truth where he were going. As soon as the staff told Adam the truth as to where, told Adam he had to pack all his stuff up, Secure Training Centre's come available, they've got a bed for him. Adam asked where it were, he was told County Durham, 200 miles away. That's when Adam ran off. He ran off because he was frightened.
So this Pete Jenkins, Adam was in an institution. Was it a closed institution?
Yeah.
It was a secure unit, was it?
Oh, no. Elm Tree Farm.
Elm Tree Farm?
No.
So it was an open... It was an open...
It was an open unit.
It was an open unit.
It was like a big farmhouse.
And he got on well with all the staff there.
Every single member.
So he got on so well with all the staff. Can you just put that on me for a minute? So the way I see this is that Adam was in Elm Tree Farm, and he got on so well with the staff there that the staff refused to lie to the kid, telling him that he was going some fictitious place, that this Pete Jenkins, social worker, asked them to lie to Adam. So they refused. So to me, that says that they thought highly of Adam, that they didn't want to lie to him. Right, do you want to chuck that on me for a minute, Lil? Rob, can I use you for a minute? Could you stand up for a minute? I'm not saying this is how Adam broke his wrist, but there is a possibility that it was done like that. Can you feel that?
Yeah, you can.
Now, if that goes harder and harder, that is it. That is it. You can control someone like that with just one hand. That is it. And that is a restraining technique they use as well. That would break a wrist, especially if it was by someone who was sort of 18 stone or whatever, you know what I mean?
You see it on TV, don't you? Coppers against men and they're crying on the floor like go my wrist and that, don't you?
Yeah.
You see it all the time.
Yeah. And kneeling on them as well. Right, can we... I'm sorry, I forgot your name again. Nicola, right. This is Nicola, this is Carol's friend. Nicola, tell me, right, you must have seen Carol and her whole family, but if we can just leave everyone else out for a minute, how have you seen Carol suffer over this, Nicola?
Oh, she suffered a lot.
Mm.
Got to get built there.
And you've seen your mate suffer?
Yeah.
What do you think should be done, Nicola?
Someone should get done for what he's done. What's happened to him?
Yeah. It must be terrible to see.
Yeah.
To see this.
It is.
Mm. So, put it on me. This is a web, you know. You people. You're not just killing a child. It's a web. It goes right throughout the family, through the friends, and that's what these people are doing here tonight. And I'm sure there's a lot more. You know, you could fill this house, couldn't you?
Yeah.
10 times with these people in Burnley, and I'm just in Burnley at the moment, and the suffering that you see, and low key. And one thing I would like to say is that you all seem to have a sense of humour, you know, but it's a sense of humour that I feel is being suppressed by this terrible thing that will never leave your community.
Never.
Never leave it. No. Now, look at me, darling. You tell me, what was Adam like? What kind of a person like to go out with, all right? You look like a nice clean-cut girl to me, and I don't think you'd put up with too much shit. Did he give you a lot of shit?
No, I didn't.
No?
He was so loving and funny.
Yeah. Was he generous?
Yeah.
Yeah? Did he used to take you out? Did he spend his money on you? Yeah? Did you spend your money on him? No? Well, maybe that's the way it's meant to be. You still think about him a lot, don't you?
Yeah, of course I do.
And you still cry about him a lot. What's the worst times, darling? When do you miss him most?
Every day.
Is it when you're on your own?
All the time.
All the time? All the time.
Everyone does.
We're going to leave you on that. We'll give you a break on that.
Right, it's like you happen to be running to change this, change that.
But I'll tell you something, while I'm here, Rich.
Just stick fucking discipline.
Rich, you know, people say to me, you know, like my abuse really was beatings in the institutions and solitary confinement, you know, for quite a few years. But what I'll say to people, Rich, what I'll say to people though is that in all these institutions I was in, the one thing they like to do was give you a fucking cup of cocoa at night or a cup of tea. So for all I know, I could have had it up the arse. but I don't know.
Yeah.
And then I've recently found out that my sister, Philomena, my younger sister, when she was 7 years of age, she was in the care of the health local authority. No thanks, Rich. And she was taken to the dentist. The dentist wanted to know why my sister, at the age of 7, was addicted to Valium. Then, by the time she was 11, she was pregnant with fucking cervical cancer. Now, cervical cancer is caused by the human papillomavirus, and the human papillomavirus will stay dormant and it won't come out in the cervix for up to 10 years. So if my sister was, you know, gone to the dentist at 7, and Rich, you know, and he wanted to know why she was addicted to Valium, and then by the age of 11, she's pregnant by a fucking care worker, so that baby was aborted, obviously, or, you know what I mean? And then she had cervical cancer. It's bollocks.
You couldn't script it, could you?
No, you couldn't script it.
That's how fucking bad it is, you know what I mean? Because these people are writing it. These people are writing the book.
Mm. It's like me, you know, sometimes I'll be alright for sort of, I'll be alright for like a couple of months, and then I'll start thinking about it again, but I think like the work I've been doing, you know, when I've done something...
You feel as though they ripped you off. As though they fucking had one over you, pulled the wool over your eyes. And then when your family, your sister and brother who they fucking killed, right? At the end of the day, when the cold light of day, they ripped you, man. They fucking ripped you.
Mm.
Didn't they?
Yeah. I lost all trust and faith in adults.
And everything.
Yeah, because when I was a kid, you know, I always really believed, I really did seriously believe when I was a kid, Rich, that adults didn't lie.
Mm-hmm.
And if a man sort of you was in care and a man would bounce you, I saw so many kids being bounced up and down on these fucking nonces knees and being
But you
touched.
You weren't aware?
No, I weren't aware, but I always had this thing because I've always been a fighter. It's the paddy in me, Rich. It's the paddy in me, you know what I mean? I've always been a fighter, and it's like my dad's dead now, God rest his soul, but he was a boxer, and he said to me, he went, whatever happens in your life, Willie, that's what he used to call me, Willie, because when I was a kid people called me Willie, and then as I got older they called me Billy. He said, Willie, he said, never despair. He said, don't, but he said it like, don't ever fucking despair. But you know, he was talking to me like that because my dad was in care. He was in care.
Because he knew.
He knew what was happening to all these children.
Yeah.
You know, my sisters were being fucked at the age of 5.
Shocking, isn't it? It's you can't get words to describe your feelings, can you? Really?
No.
You can punch a few walls. You can knock a few fucking people out.
Well, that's why I started boxing again, because the punch bag to me is like a release.
Say that, put you in solitary confinement. Well, it's true, isn't it? Are we rolling?
Yeah.
Right, there's just a quite a touching story that Carol just told me about Adam and a dog. Someone was going to shoot a dog. So hunting rabbits with dogs, or?
Yeah.
Right, so you should take dogs and you should go rabbiting. Right, go on.
The ones in fields and farmer were going to shoot the dog, so Adam picked the dog up, wrapped it round his neck and told the farmer, if you're going to shoot the dog, you fucking shoot me.
So, proper little hero, weren't he? Yeah, starting to find out about Adam, ain't we? He was a proper little man, weren't he? And you don't like proper little men in your establishments, do you? Right, so Carol, if you want to take the story up, so he was in this place and then all of a sudden he thinks he's staying there and the staff have told him that he's got to go to Hassockfield.
Yeah.
Do you want to take it up from there?
They told him he had to go to Hassockfield. Adam done run off from there. Obviously, he was upset. He'd never been so far away from home. Adam were a mummy's boy. I mean, Adam had only been accused of wounding. He'd never been found guilty. And also the guy what he'd been accused of wounding, Adam were 5'1.5" and he weighed just over 8 stone. The guy what he'd been accused of wounding, he were a 20-year-old man, very large build, weighing about 18 stone. Adam got took up to Hassockfield on a Saturday night. Nobody informed me that Adam had gone there.
So here we are, we've now got Adam languishing. He's come out of this Elm Tree Farm, which I'll tell you what, Carol, see this what I've heard about this Elm Tree Farm. I've not investigated it or anything, and I doubt if I will, but it sounds like a good place.
Oh
Why can't they base these other places on it? You know what I mean? And then with the guy retracting his statement, so there was no charge then, but they left Adam in there. Right, a Young Offenders Institution. It's called Lancaster Farms, appropriate name. Now, I am in a place called Lancaster, which is not far from Burnley. We're about 30 miles from Burnley. And I'm actually sort of, if you like, hiding out here, Lily and I, while we're conducting our investigations into the Adam Rickwood case and the 22 crew. Now, this is a Young Offenders Institute, and as I look on it, I see a man's prison, and I want you to show the public that I'll get the shots while I just take us through slowly. Now, we've managed to get around the back of it. There's a sign outside saying that if you help anyone to escape, etc., etc. Now, this looks very high security to me. The external fence has got a sort of a pipe effort over the top of it, which would be difficult to grasp, so you couldn't really climb that. And then there's an internal fence as well, which appears to have razor wire or whatever it is, and there's cameras and lights everywhere. Now, if we're putting 13-year-old children in places like this, you know, I find that very difficult to justify. I know you get difficult kids. We have the audacity to call it a Young Offenders Institution. And by the way, it's Her Majesty's Young Offenders Institution once again. So, once again, Your Majesty, you're making money from the kids. You're a bit of a pimp, really, aren't you, Your Majesty? So, I don't think that, there it is, there's the fence and the bars on the windows. I don't think that Tony Blair, Jack Straw, Campbell, etc., George Bush, all these people are responsible for the killing, the murder, the genocide of hundreds of thousands of people, especially in the Middle East, will ever see the inside of an institution like that. I don't believe they will ever see the inside of an institution like that. Right, so I'm on my third visit to Burnley to see Carol Pounder again. I've really taken these people to my heart, you know. I don't know, they're just sort of, I just feel comfortable and I feel at home around them. It's the way I was brought up, you know. There's obviously a lot of poverty in Burnley. I'm not seeing any of the money that this so-called Labour government is supposed to be giving for the kids to improve their areas and, you know, thus get rid of street crime and, you know, we've got too many kids that we're incarcerating. Right, another very powerful and important piece of information that has come to light, Carol told me about a couple of days ago, is concerning what the High Court judge wants the coroner to do. Do you want to tell us what's happened?
Yeah, solicitor phoned me last week and said that it had been to High Court and the judges gave the coroner, Andrew Tweedle, 10 days to step down willingly, so a new coroner can take over the second inquest. If Mr Tweedle doesn't willingly step down, then we'll take him to court and make him step down so we can have a new coroner for the second inquest. Right, so this isn't just Carol and her family's mistrust of the coroner, Mr Tweedle. The High Court judge who has announced that Adam is going to have a second inquest has told the coroner that he's got 10 days to make up his mind whether he will step down or not, and they will put in a new coroner. We've seen all this. We saw all this on the Princess Diana case, didn't we? They kept changing the coroner. So I think that is a major part of this documentary, Carol, that the High Court judge has actually said to the coroner, really, get the fuck out of here. Definitely, yeah. And if he doesn't, you're going to take him to court. Yeah, yeah, definitely. I wish you all the luck in the world with that. But I think just the High Court judge just saying that, you know, it's taking this into a different ballpark. Yeah. What we've been told is when the new inquest starts, it will now be a criminal investigation because of when we took it to court to get a judicial review of the first inquest, the High Court judges decided, yes, we need a judicial review because the coroner didn't do things right. And it's also a criminal investigation because the restraint, as they call it, the beating of Adam by the screws from death camp was unlawful.
Well, it does appear that the High Court judge agrees with you.
Yeah.
And wish you all the luck in the world on that one, Carol.
Thank you.
When Adam died, his cell was sealed off for a day, and then it was reopened because Haswickfield needed the room. They didn't let the police continue with the forensics. It was reopened. They told them no more. And that is all my life, that.
Right, so I'm here with Adam's nan, Carol's mum, and I was just talking to Margaret, or Nana, as everyone calls her, in the kitchen, and she said something to me that I found really very sad. And Margaret, you said to me that you don't ever think that you'll find out the real truth or get a conclusion.
I'll never find out, Bill, never. I will when I meet the lads.
What do you mean by that?
When I die and I'm ready to go to them,
And
he'll tell me then.
who will tell you?
Adam will.
And but you don't think what you're saying is you don't think you're going to live to see?
No,
a
not to see
conclusion?
it, not to see it on this earth, no. It's going to be a long, hard fight.
It has been.
Yeah, it has been, and it still will be, and I'll be there for Carol as long as she needs me. But there will be a day when I won't be here.
You seem to be holding everyone together.
Well, I don't know about that. It's just the kitchen's a kitchen. That's where we meet up.
I know, but you do seem
Cups
to
of
be.
tea.
Well, I just said to Margaret. I was saying to Margaret, and I really mean this. I've been about, you know, and it's very rare that you come across someone that is loved and cherished as much as this lady here. What do you think of that?
Well, I never knew it, Bill.
Yeah. Well, I love you, and August kiss. There you go, and we'll see what we can do. All right.
Yeah,
we'll do our best, you know.
I will never get the answer. Not on this earth.
What you're saying is that Adam was beaten to death, and then they hung him to get themselves out of the shit.
Yeah, 100% definitely. That's what I'm saying.
Do you believe that your son killed himself?
No.
Okay. Do you want to come with me very quickly, Lil? Do you believe that Adam killed himself?
No.
Do you believe that
No
Adam
way.
killed himself?
No.
Do you believe that Adam killed
No
himself?
chance. No.
Do you believe that Adam killed himself?
No.
Do you believe that Adam killed himself? No. Okay, follow me, Lil. We've got time on that tape. Do you believe that Adam killed himself?
No.
Do you believe that Adam killed himself? Do you believe that Adam killed himself? Do you believe that Adam killed himself?
No.
Do you believe that Adam killed himself?
No.
Right, so me, as a father, as a man, as a film director, as what I think is a decent person, I think that just what these people are saying and what these people believe, I think it's worth a public inquiry. Because if we can charge £178,000 per year per child, which is absolutely ridiculous, then I think we can give this kid a public inquiry.
What these people have been doing to people like Richard, myself, Kevin Young, etc., for all these years, and there is no recourse for these people. They are protected, and I would love to see the Queen actually step in. And people say, oh, she can't, she's only a figurehead. Yes, you can, madam. Yes, you can. If God has given you the right to rule over people as you believe, the divine right as you believe, why don't you get your finger out and do something? Oh, I just get so angry, you know. I get angry, Lil, you know, when I'm thinking like, you know, this woman's personal fortune, etc., etc., you know.
And I'm lost again. I want to ask you a direct question, what I've just asked your nan and your mum. Do you think that your brother killed himself?
No way. No.
No?
No. Like my nana said he had too much to live for.
Tell me, babe, what
This is what we're doing to our kids. Look at this kid. What do you want to do? Do you want to fucking lock him up?
What are your hopes?
People want to lock you up, you know that, don't you? You know why they want to lock you up? Because they can make a lot of money out of you.
I'm coming home. Home's where I belong.
Watch this. This is magic. Keep it on both of them. I want the full shot. Ready, Lil? Criminals? Not criminals.
Let your streams. This is your song. This is your song.
Where's the fucking money? Where's the fucking money? This is the only thing you understand. This is the only thing you understand. Look what you made us do. Look what you made us do.
I'm coming home.
After the inquest, when the inquest was all over, one of the guards who was involved in the restraining of Adam came up to you and said that you can hit me if you want.
Yeah. That were a guy called John Hamilton. He was deputy manager. He was the one who'd actually been in the CCTV room, and he couldn't give an explanation as to why he'd been in there. And that were at the time where the videotapes had been stopped from recording where Adam's unit were. After he gave his evidence, he came up to me and said to me at the court doors, if you want to hit me, and I'll understand why, and I won't move. I mean, now when you think about it, why has he said that? Has he said it out of guilt?
Well, it does seem like guilt. It's this. If this guy was doing his job and he was securing that, why did he go up to Carol and say, you can hit me? You know, hit me. This is one of the men that we have looking after our children. They seem to have you've got violence on your brain all the time. This is the guy who you believe went in and stopped those tapes.
Yeah. It's not only who I believe, it's where there is evidence. The coroner has actually got a different CCTV camera recording him going into the room where the all CCTV cameras are at the time the tape was stopped. Also, at Adam's inquest, every one of them officers who took part in punching lumps out of Adam at the inquest, every single one of them had gone into Adam's cell later on that night after their shifts had finished to make sure they were all right. Why do they want to do that? They restrain kids day in, day out. They punch them in the nose day in, day out. They break bones day in, day out.
So they're saying they went in
to check that Adam were all
every
right.
single one of them, individually.
Individually, every single one
that was
of them.
involved in.
Yeah.
So they must have been very worried about
Exactly.
him to do that. So all four have gone in there. Is that on camera anywhere? Of them going into his, because it's a cell, weren't it? Was it a cell? Because they're in single rooms, aren't they? Yeah. It's like Lancaster Farms, where they got 530 young offenders. The majority are in cells. So to me, a cell is solitary confinement. You know what I mean? I think when you got kids in cells or inmates in single cells, all right, they say like, well, that's for their privacy. Well, I don't believe it is for their privacy. I believe that it's. They keep them in single cells so the guards can go and do what they want when they want, rather than if you had dormitories or 4 or 5 in a cell, it's a little bit more difficult. You don't like witnesses, do you?
Exactly. That's exactly what it is.
It just gets worse and worse, doesn't it, really? So Adam was in Hassockfield for stabbing this guy. That's why he was put there, really.
Yeah.
But the guy was saying that he was drunk, he was on drugs, and it wasn't Adam. So it sounds to me like this guy used Adam as a scapegoat for someone who he was possibly frightened of, who was a lot more scary than Adam.
Yeah, definitely. That's exactly how it was, yeah.
Also, there's a lot of things bothering me in this. Carol was saying to me that she thinks that a lot of these officers are taken from the army and ex-police officers or ex-security guards or whatever, and she told me something that she would like seen to be done with these people. Do you want to take the story up, Carol?
Yeah, I think all these who's working in these child prisons should be drug tested, because I feel they should be drug tested and tested for alcohol abuse, because if they're on a come down from drugs, from alcohol, and they're in a bad mood, they're taking their bad moods out on our kids. That's when our kids, as they call them, restraints, that's when our kids are being beat up, because they're in bad moods, having a bad come down off the drugs and taking it out on our kids. They should be drug tested at least once a week. I
think that they should be drug tested once a week, because I was in the process before I came here of shooting a documentary called Come Down. Now, there is more drug abuse in, like the army, the navy, the police force. They've got a very high rate, higher rate than anyone of divorce, etc., these guys that we're sending in to look after our children. Now, if they've been on cocaine or heroin or crack cocaine or cannabis, skunk, and alcohol, and the root chaps, don't you? You go out, you have a beer, and then you have a bit of Charlie, as we call it in London, a bit of cocaine, and then you go home and you're in a bad state with the come down, and then you start using the skunk to come down, or maybe a little bit of diazepam or temazepam. And then the next day when you're on duty, you are having fucking nightmares, aren't you? And you're looking after our children.
There should be something put in place where, not where the government announce that somebody's going in to visit, and not somebody from the government what's going in to visit. Have normal parents, everyday people going in and visiting these prisons and seeing how they run. Don't announce to them, somebody's coming tomorrow to visit, so they can blackmail kids.
Spot checks you're talking about?
Yeah.
There should be spot checks. Yeah, well, I've always believed that. I've always advocated that.
But the spot checks should be done by everyday people.
Yeah.
Not by ex-prison officers, ex-police officers, social workers.
Or their wives.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or husbands.
They all cover each other's backs. It should be everyday parents.
Properly independent. Yeah. So, £178,000 a year. These kids are very important. They must be very important because they're demanding such high amounts of money. So out of that money, we can afford to drug test the people that are looking after them.
So here I am in York, outside Kevin Young's shop, Internet Antiques. So we're going to give you a little plug on this one, Kevin, because you deserve it. All victims deserve a little bit of help and a plug. So what I find is, like, the strong people who do survive this have a creativity about them. And if you look at the front of Kevin's shop, and just follow me round here, Lil, and you can see that this man is creative, and this man's having a go, and this man is laying his stall right out front, and that's what he's been like in this documentary. He's putting his stall out front, just like he's doing with his shop. He's speaking up and he's telling the truth. And I want to say that to all you victims. I think if you all done that, then we would be so much stronger and so closer to ending this kind of horrific abuse which is still going on now. So let's not listen to the bullshit of the politicians and the lawyers. Things are getting better, and the social workers. And I'd like to investigate the social workers as well, because I think everyone's in this pot. Everyone is profiteering from child abuse in one way or another, all these professionals. So do you want to come in, Lil? And here he is, he's the man himself, Kevin. It's lovely to see you again, Kevin. So what we're here today really for is to talk about survival, because as a film director I've managed to survive, and Kevin, as an antiques dealer,
He's managed to survive. And I was just saying outside your shop, Kevin, I've done a little a brief history of it for you, give you a little plug.
That's it.
It seems to be the creative people, the people that have something that is different, that pushes them and keeps them going. But how would we've got someone trying to get in the shop here? So anyway, Kevin, what we're talking about is survival, and you seem to be surviving, and I seem to be surviving a lot better than a lot of the victims. How do you survive?
Well, first of all, I'd say that's definitely true, having met many, many victims, not only in my own case, but in many other cases. It is very cruel that the vast majority never recover from the abuse, and the vast majority go on to lead a very disturbed and very hard and cruel life. As for surviving, I can only tell you from my own point of view, I can't speak for others. Two things saved me. One, I'm a musician, so I was lucky enough to have my music, the ability to play guitar and express myself musically. I believe that helped me. And the second thing was my passion to find out the truth about my case in particular, and my determination to see it through to the end. That's certainly helped me survive, but I am most certainly a survivor.
So it's like the creativity as well, but then you still got that grit about you.
Well, I think you've got that grit in you as well.
Yeah, I have as well. But where does that come from?
That comes from the knowledge. As far as I'm concerned, it comes from my inside knowledge, which lets me know that what I'm doing is right. It has to be done, both for myself and others, and it's that. It's with me. It's never been any other. When I took it on to finish it.
Well, that's the same as me. What I'll say to people is, when I was in solitary confinement all them times, you're looking like very, very young. Even from when I was like shoved in the fucking coal cupboard underneath the stairs. It's like I used to sort of hope Batman. I really used to think when I was a kid, I thought Batman or Superman had come in.
Come and save,
but a superhero. But no one ever come. And I can remember like being in such predicaments, like where I was sort of really, in my language, I was fucked as a kid, and I'd be in some kind of institution and not knowing, when they say like you can't bond with the carers, so you've got a problem there, bearing in mind, I say again, you're ripped away from the heart of your family, your parents, and you've got to get on with the carers, who to us were screws, and that was it. Yeah. So they weren't interested in, any kind of rehabilitation, and I believe they're still not. And what we've done some research over Hassockfield, and all they teach there is the national curriculum and religion, apparently.
The bare minimum.
So, I can't understand why they can't teach a guy to lay a brick, or to do a bit of plumbing, or a little bit of electrical work, when they're getting £178,000 a year for them.
Well, on £178,000 a year, I think you get a bit better than a bricklaying course.
Well, you could go to Oxford and Cambridge for a few years on that.
You certainly could.
But what I was going to say is, I wanted a hero. Now, I don't know, I'm not blowing my trumpet here, Kevin, but, I think there's kids out there that needs heroes, that are in the same predicament as you and I were, and they're sitting there right now as we speak, and that is what's so frustrating to me, and we just want to go and try and help them. Now, you can't help them individually, because the establishment is self-protective.
It is.
So we have to go for the whole lot. Me and you, mate.
Yeah, I know that. And I'm up for it. I'm absolutely up for it.
You,
I'm up for it.
And Richard Hall. I'm fucking vulnerable, aren't I? Right, so are we rolling?
I'm rolling.
Right, so we've got young Richard here. And
Gordon Ramsay here.
And me, Gordon Ramsay. Fuck, cunt, bollocks, cunt, fuck.
Blizzard.
And well, you all know by now who Richard is, and he's here, and we're having him up for something to eat, and we've got a leg of lamb. And it's a good leg as well. It's as thick as the Queen's thigh, I think, or even thicker. Oh, fucked it, haven't I?
No, you haven't. No, you haven't.
I know I haven't.
No, sorry, you were talking.
No, you're right, because,
You never do fuck it, man.
Well,
you cannot fuck anything complete. And the first instance, and never mind the Crown Chief, because you are who tell him how it is in this lifetime, because remember, it's a short life, right? This lifetime, this man will condense all the fucking things I've got to say in this lifetime in one little piece. And I command and I salute Bill Maloney for this lifetime.
Well, thank you for that, Richard, but I was just going to say, I'm just going to put the fucking lamb in the oven, that's all. That's all I wanted to say. I was going to put the lamb in the oven. We got lamb, broccoli, roast potatoes, you know, the best ones you can get, you know, frozen. And
we were in County Durham, unfortunately, but Northumberland
could have been
just up the road.
The strange thing, let me just say this, because the strange thing is, I'm here in County Durham, but I could... Please, Richard,
County Durham stinks.
But so we're here in County Durham. I'll tell you what. You see these.
Let's get the truth out
these
here,
abuse
right?
victims.
County Durham here, right? No. This is how the truth is.
Yeah,
County Durham, right?
I'm telling you.
Right. Medomsley, County Durham. Dearbold, County Durham. Durham, Class C, Class A. Durham. Franklin, Durham. Penshaw, Durham. Well,
what Richard's saying in his own impeccable manner is that there's a lot of...
and we're in County Durham.
Institutions in County
We are.
Will you shut the fuck up and let me talk about the land?
Sorry, mate.
Okay, now.
But we're on Darlington, County fucking Durham.
Anyway, so...
Well, all the fuckers are all born and bred, right?
Like I said before, we're starting to feel frightened now, you know, he's fucking
we're getting scared.
Anyway, so we've got lamb, we've got broccoli, we've got all the trimmings, and we're going to sit down, we're going to eat, and we're going to chew the fat, and we're going to talk to you people as ex-abuse victims, and we want to put it into your head so that you can think about your own children, and if the possibility ever arises, whether your boy or your girl,
always be aware.
Your boy or your girl could become addicted to cannabis, whatever, and then all of a sudden they're within the institutions, and then you try and get to see them. You try and get
the crown will take them off you.
Yeah. Right, we're going anyway. And that's the three of us.
Yeah, a bit of truth. It'll be good for everybody. I mean, good for everybody. A lot of people won't want to hear it, but it'll be good for everybody.
I know that. Well, we can't. Like, when we say we're not going to sanitise the documentary, we can't sanitise the documentary, and we can't do it just to help ourselves or the victims. Because, you know, another thing, it doesn't mean because you're a victim that you're going to be a nice person. But if you're a victim, then being not such a nice person, then what happened to you can lead to that. You know. Well, so I believe also that a lot of victims who are not very nice people now would have been. So that is something that they're missing out on in life, and feeling the pleasure of helping other people. You know what I mean?
I think the important thing to remember is when you have a child, whether it's your child or somebody else's, they have a gift of life. That gift of life comes with it some very basic fundamentals. The right to live and be loved. If you take all of that away and you move it to one side and you institutionalise the child, you will only get one result. You'll get a child that is less than they could have been.
Mm.
And if you then take that child and put them in an abusive care situation, then your actions, you reap as you sow. You give out violence, you get violence back. And that's why it's important that things do change.
Well, you know, what else we're finding out now, sorry to interrupt you, Kevin.
Yeah, right.
What else the whole country all of a sudden is in uproar about the members of Parliament and their expenses. Yeah, but what they don't realise is this has been going on for years and years and years, and there was a young journalist, I forget her name at the moment, but she actually exposed it and said that she wanted the freedom of information to find out about their expenses 5 years ago. Now the Telegraph has got hold of it because they've got the weight of the whole newspaper behind them, they can go and do it. So this woman, I can't even think of her name at the moment, she's getting no credit for it. I was watching her on the BBC this morning actually. But what it is all the politicians, they're all apologising. I've never seen so many politicians apologise so much. But what I say is, when they say it's not us, it's the system, they build the system. 90% of our politicians, our members of Parliament, are lawyers.
I think all you're seeing, Bill, is what's happening in lots of other areas of life, and that's the mask of respectability, because that's what they live behind. A lot of them are living behind a mask of respectability, whether they're care workers, people involved in politics, the mask of respectability.
You know what you're doing? If you try to put it into the old words, the mask of respectability is when our class of people used to doff our caps to them. Even to a doctor, you can't ask a doctor no questions. You know, that's how it was. Right. Don't ask it. What he says is it. If he gives you the pill, take the pill, go away, you're going to be sweet. And that's it. And then you see a judge, you're like bowing to the judge. Why are we bowing to judges? You know what I mean? It's the crown, the crown, the crown. And our indoctrination, I think, has hidden
child abuse.
Of course it has. It's
yeah.
designed to hide. It's designed to hide any type of abuse, not only sexual, physical, but also financial abuse. And when we're talking about abuse, if you take somebody like the Catholic Church and their many institutes, primarily they were run for profit. These are not non-profit making organisations. The likes of Hingsley Hall, which ran St Camilla's School just outside of York, that was a profit-making business. It was for many years. They reaped the benefits of that business when the land was sold for many millions of pounds years later. Land which had been given to the church free of charge.
And then, so they're all profiteering.
It's all business. It's all business.
You know,
and if we can get people to understand that what they see in the form of social care, it is a business. People are earning their living. The top directors of the social services are not on small wages by anybody's standards.
Yeah.
It's a business, and the hierarchy that it runs and perpetuates, it's really important that they have a stock supply. I need bits and bobs for my shop. Institutes need children, whether it's a child's prison. Well, a child's prison with no prisoners is not going to be around very long.
They've got to have the kids in to make the money.
Well, we're making more. We're not looking at cutting the child population.
No,
in
we're
this country.
building more.
We're building more. It's business. It's big business. There's money in it.
Yeah.
And there are those in society who will quite happily take that money and continue to take it. I haven't found one person connected with the prison service or the Home Office who could justify the spending of £170,000 plus on holding a young inmate for 12 months. I defy anybody to sit in a room and logically discuss that.
You can't.
You couldn't.
Even, and when you go through the figures, I mean, I've tried it myself. I've been giving like
bed and breakfast, 7 days a week, 365 days.
Well, I've done it with our producer, and we sat there and given them exorbitant wages. But we're going like, I think it was £12 million made from Hassockfield in a year, just roughly. And then when you take out as much as you can, you know, for the guards, for the management, etc., etc., you're still coming up with a clean profit at the end of the year of like at least 7 million minimum. And these establishments are starting to grow.
They're growing because they're tax-free, they're rate-free. Go and ask Premier Prison what it pays the British government in the form of rates and taxes, or any sort of taxes on the business that they're running there. It's all tax-exempt.
I'm sure they've got a strictly rehearsed argument for all this.
Well, I'm sure you'll just find it'll be part of a secret contract, and that's the truth of it. If you want to hide something, keep it secret. The only reason the politicians are screaming today is they couldn't keep a secret in a certain area.
Well, because
there's
I think
lots of other secrets that need to be brought out to the open, and the sooner they are, the better for everybody.
That's right. I agree with you, but you know, we haven't got a social, caring government. We have got an economic.
We've got a punishing government.
Yeah, but it's also they're more interested in economy. It's like Gordon Brown. He was there right through the Blair, the weapons of mass destruction. So was Jack Straw. Brown was our Chancellor for 10 years, and he fucked it up. And now he's our Prime Minister, and he's fucking it up because it is not a social party that we've got here that is interested in social politics and the people and the youngsters. And I'll say it again, you know, poverty breeds street crime and everything. So, you know, all you posh people out there around Knightsbridge and places like that, and you're saying, oh my God, the streets aren't safe anymore, because you won't put the fucking money into it. It's your fault. It's not the kids' fault. It's your fault, because you won't pay your taxes properly and you hide your money in places like Jersey and the Cayman Islands. You know, so that's what I believe. So until you are the people that are holding this planet back, and I bring up that crazy fact again, if the 5 richest people on the planet pulled their resources, they could do away with world poverty. And we all know, because we keep being told it by our government, that poverty breeds crime and violence. So why don't we just fuck off the poverty? And it's simple, isn't it?
It's very simple. And that's the irony of it. It is so simple. It's just some people being less greedy than they are. Some people giving a little bit more than they're prepared to give.
Who's going to listen to us, Kevin? Are our people going to listen to us? Are the middle classes going to listen to us, or the upper classes? Who's going to listen to us?
We can only speak. We can't decide who's going to listen. We can just keep speaking.
Yeah.
And by keeping speaking, we are surviving.
Well, you control yourself very well. I get very angry. I do.
I get very angry.
I'll spit at the camera sometimes when I'm talking. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So look,
What happens is every now and again, like we're talking about survival now, you know, and Kevin and I, we have survived. Seems to be a lot better than others, like you know, like Richard Hall,
We are very fortunate.
and the other guys, and my family as well. You know, my sister Diane. Well, I could go right across my family. You know, I've got brothers and sisters that committed suicide. You know, in and out of the care system. You know, I don't want to meet these guys and listen to them like fucking. I need to listen to their horror stories, but you know I'm well aware of that because I'm close to this subject. But I also want to, if I can make them laugh, and I think we are, Rich. Don't you? We're having a crack, aren't we?
You do,
yeah, put that back on me. And as I say in New York, we go to New York, the crack. Well, I'm talking about the crack in the Irish term, of course. Up the Irish. And up the fucking Medomsley Heroes. Well done, my son.
I'm not a hero, I'm just a fucking victim. I'm just another survivor, man. Remember, he was there for 17 years, right? And all them numbers were counted every other fucking 3 months for 17 years. He must have had a name of more than 22. Hello, Hong Kong fools of us.
You went to see Adam when he was in the mortuary.
Yeah.
Now, tell me about that. About when you went to see Adam in the mortuary?
We got told Adam was dead. My sister took us up to Durham University mortuary. We got there, told we wanted to see Adam. They asked me who said that I could go there. Come back at 10 o'clock, so like an hour and a half. We had to wait before we could go back.
So, Cal, so that they said to you, you've gone to see your son, your dead son, at the university mortuary, and they told you to come back in an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Okay. So then when you came back in an hour and a half, did they allow you to see Adam?
They took us into a room. Adam were on a slab. All you seen were his face. I never ever got to see Adam's body.
Why did you only see? Why is it you only see his face? Was he covered with a sheet or something?
I touched his arm, and it was like he was in a plastic bag and a big purple sheet over the top of him. I went to look at his leg, and there was a guy there. He said to me, "Don't touch him. Please don't touch him till we've done what we've got to do." I went to let to touch Adam.
Were you allowed to spend time, just you on your own, with your dead son?
No, never. Never ever. From the day Adam died, from the day I got the telephone call, the knock on the door to say my child was dead, I never got to spend any time at all with Adam. The only thing I ever got to see was his face. I never ever got to see his body. I wanted Adam in a football strip. Adam were a Man United supporter. I wanted him in a Man United football strip. Couldn't have him in that because of all markings on his body.
Was this after the autopsy? It wasn't, was it?
No.
Why wasn't Adam's mother allowed to see his body? Now, when I went to see my dad in a mortuary, I kissed my dad and I gave him a hug. And rigor mortis had set in, but it doesn't matter.
Rolling.
Right, here we are. We've come outside. This is the morning after the night before, if you like, when we was recording Richard, and we've come into the garden and we've tried to find a little bit of shelter. You know, it becomes a little bit claustrophobic indoors sometimes when we're talking about such a harrowing subject. And the footage I shot of Richard last night, I have just shown him, and I want you to see his reaction and how he feels of how he's coming across. What did you think, Richard?
Shocked to look at myself like that. Obviously bitter. That's my life, I suppose.
Is that you every day like that, Rich?
Yeah.
Why do you think you do? Why do you think you put yourself through that, Rich?
To forget and block out the past, I suppose. That's the only way I know how. There's nobody else there. There's nobody else but
And the beer.
The beer's your friend. The beer's the only thing that's helping you.
Yeah.
That's your self-medication.
Yeah.
Have you ever been on anything else like marzipan or anything like that?
No.
So it's just that, and you like a puff and that's it.
Yeah.
Well, you know, to my point of view, when I saw what you was like last night, I found it really quite disturbing and harrowing.
Sorry.
You know, I've been there myself, and all the other victims that I've talked to, you know, not just to do with Medomsley, but any victims I've talked to, you know, anything to do with any abuse cases that I've been involved in, and they all have a drug or alcohol problem. And it's my guess that you've lost quite a few friends because of that. How does that make you feel?
Angry, bitter, but that's life, isn't it?
Isolated.
Isolate. Oh yeah, definitely.
It's almost like, you know, like we were talking about my abuse. Most of it was like beatings or being held in solitary confinement, you know, and that, you know, your world reminds me of solitary confinement. But the horrors of, you know, when you go so low and then the alcohol takes over and then you become sort of, anything can happen, can't it?
Yeah.
Have you contemplated suicide while in that state?
Not drunk, but I have contemplated it before. To just get out of it, you know.
So when you've not been drinking, you've contemplated it when you've not actually been drinking.
Yeah.
Well, that's scary as well, isn't it? So that would give you a sense of like, without it, I might kill myself.
Yeah.
Well, can I just talk about your solicitor, David Greenwood, and you know, you've got a little bit of a beef about the case. Do you want to put your point of view across on that?
All I say to all the solicitors on the way, to the barristers and to the judges, why has it taken so long to get closure and justice?
How long has your case been running now?
The case has been running since 1997. Litigation didn't start till 2002. So the case has now been going on now for 7 years.
7 years. If you want to put that on me for a minute, Lil. I'm finding this with a lot of abuse victims. My sister herself, her case ran for 7.5 years and then it was closed after a documentary I made. This is what we believe at Pine Mash Films. She was given no excuse. She was told that she wouldn't be a reliable witness. It took them 7.5 years to decide that. So, you know, you're not on your own on that. And I wonder why solicitors, judges and barristers let these cases go for so long. Because the longer they go, the more the costs go up. Apparently, each time one of these victims gets a letter, the legal people, the solicitors firm, get £47 for a letter. So there's a lot of money in this. And well, anyway, listen. I want to thank Richard, and we're going to see him home safely. And like I said before, you know, I get dry mouth when I'm talking to Richard and these guys, you know, because it puts me back there as well. And I hope we're going to remain friends.
Most definitely.
Yeah, I think so, Rich. And it just leaves us to shake hands. And let's go and get them.
Let's get them. And they need to be getting them.
Right, coming. Love it. Nuts through his legs. Are we rolling, Lil?
Rolling.
Right, I want you to tune in, people. I've got a story for you, a crazy fucking story. To begin the story, I have to read you an article that was written in the Independent on February the 15th, 2009. Okay.
A similar article on the same subject was written in the Times as well. The headline is, Justice Ministry to bar parents from telling their own stories. The Websters made headlines, but, says Matthew Bell, such exposure will soon be impossible. Last Wednesday, Mark and Nikki Webster were told they will never see 3 of their children again, even though a judge accepted that allegations of abuse could be false. Their story was the lead item on the following day's BBC News and appeared in several newspapers with pictures of the couple and quotes of them saying they felt they had been the victims of a miscarriage of justice. But as of April, because of a change in legislation being introduced by Jack Straw, the Justice Secretary, the media will no longer be able to identify those involved in cases such as the Websters. It will also be illegal for any children currently in care to speak out, even if they feel they are being maltreated. That is the very important part of this article. Then we go on. The change, unremarked by the press, comes with an overhaul of the law on the reporting of family courts that has otherwise been widely welcomed by the media. Currently, there is a blanket ban on journalists entering family courts, but in December, Straw announced a change to the law that will allow journalists to attend family court hearings. A really important veil is being lifted on what happens in these courts, he said. The change was greeted warmly, particularly by the Times, whose columnist Camilla Cavendish had led the campaign to open up the family courts, for which she won the Paul Foot Award. But what the Times omitted to mention was a line slipped in at the end of Straw's statement, stating his intention to reverse the decision in a case known as Clayton versus Clayton. Simon Clayton is an intense 47-year-old bookseller from Hay-on-Wye. In 2003, he astonished locals in the Welsh border town by abducting his 7-year-old daughter, days ahead of a divorce hearing. Fearing he would lose custody to his wife, he was tracked down to Portugal and brought home under arrest, after which he fought a lengthy custody battle. When his case was concluded, Clayton found he was legally barred from offering a public explanation for what he had done. He fought the existing legislation, and in 2006 the Court of Appeal reached a landmark ruling that a parent should be allowed to identify himself and his child and tell his story. It was decided that a parent's right to freedom of expression was greater than a child's right to privacy. It is because of that Clayton versus Clayton ruling that the Websters were able to speak of their distress on Thursday. Reversing it will mean that any child or adult who has been in a family court case cannot identify themselves in public. Says Clayton, the implication of this for papers is bad. Editors are only interested in the story if it has a human dimension, if you can see the people or read about them by name. Liberal Democrat MP John Hemmings agrees. There are 2 issues here. One is that the press will be prevented from reporting cases like the Websters with their names and faces. The other is that, at the moment, children who are in care are entitled to speak out if they are unhappy, although it doesn't happen very often because nobody knows how to do it. The effect of this change will be to gag them. Since Clayton versus Clayton, there have been no complaints of invasion of privacy. Fran Lyon, Angela Canning, Bob Geldof, Jack Frost. There are more than a dozen people who have benefited from being able to go public with their story. Says Clayton, there are thousands of people like the Websters out there who, once their cases are over, will want to log onto a forum and discuss what happened to them and get support. As of April, it will be illegal to identify yourself in any way that could lead to the identification of the child. There are occasions when the children may wish to make a public statement. Clayton is incensed that Straw is claiming to be opening up the family courts while reversing the Court of Appeal's ruling, and says he has yet to receive an explanation or any reply from Straw's office. A Ministry of Justice spokesman said, the Secretary of State has made it clear that any moves towards openness in the family courts must be balanced with the welfare, privacy and well-being of children. She added that the decision to reverse Clayton had been made following a consultation with a variety of bodies. For better or for worse, the balance has been tipped against openness. Some say the child must come first. End of discussion. Others see a sinister attempt to gag those who say the system doesn't work. Cavendish takes a less conspiratorial view, but is nonetheless perplexed about the reversal of Clayton. It won't cancel out the new legislation, but it will make it increasingly difficult to report these cases. She said, "I'm afraid I don't know why it is happening." Now, I just want to read out one very important line. It will also be illegal for any children currently in care to speak out, even if they feel they are being maltreated. Right, now, Jack Straw made that possible. This is his doing. This is Jack Straw's doing, stopping children speaking out if they are in care, any care, even if they are being maltreated. That is what Jack Straw has done. Now this is where the story gets a little bit crazy. Just over 2 weeks ago, the Sun got a black cab driver and put him in their red cab, which had the Sun imprinted all over it. Now, is this cab driver's job as being like one of the working classes and just a normal working guy to ask a number of politicians certain questions about the economy, about social politics, etc., while they were in the back of his cab. The Sun reported on it every day and then put the films up on their website as video clips. Now, this guy, this cab driver, he had the likes of William Hague, etc., Pickles, they were in his cab and he questioned them all. And then he got Jack Straw in the back of his cab. Now, what these Jack Straw didn't realise is that this black cab driver is a friend of mine, a personal friend of mine. And he's also an actor. And I trained him as an actor. So as a black cab driver, this job's come to him via the Sun. Now, this guy pulled a question from our website that infuriated him and decided to ask Jack that question. Now, we have obtained the recording, the audio recording, but not the video recording. Now I'm going to play you that video recording of Jack Straw and what my mate asked him.
I've got to ask you another question, Jack. Funny enough, yesterday I was in the cab. I picked up a film.
Was this a proper one?
A proper cab, yeah. I was in my cab working, and I had a guy in the cab, and he's a very independent. Bill Maloney's name. He makes little independent films and stuff. And I didn't realise he's working on one now about child abuse, and I didn't realise he said to me to say to you, why in 2009 you made it illegal or for any children in care to speak out about being ill-treated. Did you do that, Jack?
No.
He said that was something to do with you, and I said, I've got you. He said, oh, Jack Straw, he made it illegal.
I grant this.
Children in care to speak out. I said, well, I'll ask him that tomorrow.
One gets involved in so much that occasionally you have memory lapse, but I think I remember that. I don't remember. I mean, it's not. I mean, amongst other things, it's not my own responsibility. I mean, actually, I don't know where it's coming from, because one of the things I've been doing is to try and open up the family courts where a lot of these issues get argued about, and so that people, the press would not be able to report the names of the kids or therefore their parents, but they would be able to say, well, this is a really odd decision, and I've had, frankly, a very big fight with some of the people in the family courts and the children's organisations who want family justice, so-called, to remain a secret garden. So I can say to him that I don't know what he's talking about, but if he cares to send me an email, I'll try and
you'll answer it. Yeah. Jack, I know you're a big Blackburn fan.
Thank you.
The Independent and the Times tell us Jack Straw was responsible for this. But as you just heard, Jack has had a lapse of memory because of all the different things he's involved in. He has had a lapse of memory. He has made it possible now that children cannot say, I'm being abused, I'm doing this, and put it into the public arena. And he's just told a London cabbie, a mate of mine, that you have all just listened to, I can't remember. No, I don't think I did do that. I think I would have remembered that. I don't know. He doesn't know what I'm talking about. He doesn't know what I'm talking about. Well, Jack, you may not know what I'm talking about, but the fucking Independent knows what I'm talking about, and the Times knows what I'm talking about, and the victims of this country and their siblings and their parents and their families know what I'm talking about, Jack. But you don't know what I'm talking about, Jack. Now, the story gets even stranger. 2 days after my friend asked Jack Straw that question, giving my name, a victim from Medomsley who appears in the story of Adam Rickwood and the Medomsley Heroes, where we are investigating abuse by one Neville Husband, received a letter from his MP, Stephen Byers, via Jack Straw. I'm getting fed up to the fucking back teeth of listening to this sloshy little prick. That's what you are, Straw. Now we've just discovered that there's a possibility that your brother was not only on the sex offenders register while you were given the job of overhauling it, but he was also done for assaulting another young girl. And your son was a cocaine dealer. You are locking our children up and stealing children in these secret families' courts, Mr. Straw, and it is all coming on top for you. That is it. And people, I don't know what else to say to you all. When we've got one of the most powerful politicians in this country acting like this, now, you blatantly lied to that cab driver. You can't remember, Your son, your sex offender brother, William, and you for lying. You have all done far worse crimes, committed far worse crimes in your actions than the majority of our young offenders and our children in the institutions. And so, a lot of our children in these institutions have never been charged with anything because they're not all young offenders. I'm pointing the finger at you, Mr. Jack Straw.
Hello, Kev, it's Bill Maloney.
Hi, Bill.
Oh, all right, Kev. I just phoned you up to get your feelings about Neville Husband being released today on, the 9th, and we thought it was the 14th, so we was all fucking getting ready to come up and film the man coming out of prison and try and interview him. Yeah. And now they've let him out early, it seems. How are you, Kev, today?
Well, I'm not too bad, thanks very much, Bill. Obviously, I'm both alarmed and distressed that this man is being released, and for that's quite simple. In the past, his abuse has been while he's been involved in both the prison service, working as a Crown officer, where for some considerable time he enjoyed the protection of the Crown, Shortly after that, he then moved into the United Reformed Church, where once again he enjoyed the protection of the church and probably still does to this day.
Yeah.
My major concern, Bill, if I could just say this, is in my opinion, Neville Husband is probably one of this country's most long-term serial paedophiles and has a habit which I do not believe will ever be broken. In the past, the man has obviously used his position of trust and authority in order to abuse, and then the problem that you've got in the future is that without that job, he's more likely to, if he does offend, for the outcome of that assault to be, shall we say, possibly violent. As with most paedophiles, the problem that you have is if he takes a young boy or a young girl, at the moment, what will happen is he isn't relying on the fact that he's a Crown officer or a priest in order to hide behind that. So
because there's no cure for this, is there, Kevin?
There is no cure for it, and if he does decide to assault somebody, the big problem that you've got, and I'll warn of it now before it happens, because I can see it happening, particularly with this man, I will tell you now that at some point in the near future, that man will re-offend. The consequences of his sexual abuse this time, I believe, will be more severe for the victim.
Well,
in other words, I believe that if this man was to assault somebody at the minute, his need to hide that and keep it secret would be such that he would do what a vast majority of paedophiles do after committing that act, and that would be to end the life of that small child.
Well,
and that's the fear that I have, Bill. That's the fear that I have.
Yeah. How are you, Rich?
So, how are you?
Right, that's better. I can fucking hear you now. So, how do you feel? So, you know, I wanted to give you a call, Rich, and find out how you felt today. That, you know, the monster is out.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that, Rich?
Not particularly good.
Yeah.
But I sent fucking Nick Brown and all them psychiatrists wrote the fucking horrible emails.
Did you?
I was mortal. I don't care what I said I've done. I think I told them all to fuck off.
Today has affected you, though, Rich, isn't it?
Yeah. But hey, life goes on. Onwards and upwards.
Yeah. Yeah. How did you feel when you woke up this morning?
Shit.
Did you?
As I went to bed, shit.
And you still haven't? Have you got a date yet?
For what?
For when you go to court?
November the 19th, I think.
November the 19th. You know what I thought?
I think.
You think?
But there's definitely one in March.
Right.
I think that's 14.
You know what pissed us off was because we was ready to come up on the 14th for Neville Husband.
Yeah, he's out.
And then they let him out early.
Yeah,
we
they let him out a week early.
Was you originally? Yeah, you was originally told it was the 14th as well, weren't you?
Yeah.
And now it's the fucking the day.
Protected, isn't he?
And they fucked us. That's why I'm doing all these phone calls. You know what I mean? I'm recording you, by the way.
Oh really?
Yeah, I thought, but I don't know whether to use it. I think you're fucking pissy, wanker. I'll tell you what, I'm fucking angry today, really. I was quite placid with the other guys, but I'm not going to be with you. I'm fucking speaking mine. And I've just been reading one of the guards when Neville Husband left and the investigation started. He said he went into the fucking kitchen area and in a 4-drawered wardrobe.
Yeah, he found dildos and all that.
He found a fucking dildos. He found
well, you what was going on, man?
I know, Tim Law was allowing it. Rich, they found stockings. He was dressing the kids up in fucking stockings and God knows what else.
Yeah.
And he was, in all the other statements, it's saying that he was, the actual guard statements, a lot of them.
They were burning evidence, man, in the fucking gatehouse.
Yeah, in the gatehouse. And they're also saying that a lot of these guards are saying that they were all well aware of stories circulating about what this fucking monster who got out today was doing.
Yes. Why didn't those bastards do anything about it?
Well,